Hello and welcome to Our Dark Materials, a podcast about the HBO/BBC series His Dark Materials. I'm James, and this week my demon would be a narwhal because it's mystical and magical, and we have a pillow that has a narwhal on it. And with me today is my co-host, Josie.
Yes, who's panicking because I totally didn't even think about my demon shape this week. My demon would take the form of a wolf.
You're a badass?
Yeah, but not like the Tartars because those wolves are...
You're not a dick.
Yeah.
You're not a mercenary. You don't fight for love. No, you fight for love, not money.
I fight for love, not money.
You fight for love, not money. All right. Well, this is episode 6 of His Dark Materials, Daemon Cages.
Yes, the Daemon Cages.
The Daemon Cages. Why don't you give us a rundown?
Can do. All right, so this week, Lyra is admitted into the station. She's taken into the cafeteria where we see and talk to Roger for the first time.
Roger.
Since Jordan College.
Roger.
Shortly after, though, a girl is escorted out of the cafeteria before she's even gotten to eat her food. And it's also clearly a big deal to the kids.
It's a huge deal. Like the adults come in like, Bridget, you're coming with us. They're like, ooh, you were called to the principal's office?
And like possibly gonna die?
Maybe it might be a death thing with that. I don't know.
This is supposed to be short. All right. So Lyra gets measured again, but this time she knows that she's being measured for dust and is a little too smart about it.
He's like, I know you're measuring dust and then like pushing boundaries and all that stuff. And then after like she realizes that she pushed boundaries a little too far, she's like, I'm not dusty. I mean, I wash myself.
Right. Before they can finish, the fire alarm goes off and the creepy robot nurse tells her to find the nearest exit. Outside, she sees Roger again and they talk about Billy and how he used to be there before he was taken away and never came back. Lyra causes a snowball fight as a distraction and the two run away without to find an exit. Instead, though, they find a room filled with demons in cages.
Oh, no.
Shortly after, they find a room with all the children who have been taken away. And obviously, the demons in the other room belong to them.
Obviously.
They make a plan to escape afterwards, saying that the next thing is going to be the fire escape. That's their cue.
Listen for the fire alarm.
Mm-hmm. But the next day, Mrs. Coulter arrives and Lyra convinces the rest of the girls in her dorm to help hide her. Lyra starts to spread the plan to escape around, but is interrupted by the doctors calling her name in the middle of a meal, like the girl before.
But they don't call Lyra, they call for Lizzie.
That's true. Her name is Lizzie here.
I always make sure that she's known as Lizzie.
But she tries to run away in the middle, and then the male doctor grabs Pan and causes Lyra to pass out.
That is some hardcore shit.
Ugh.
Has some major taboo.
Yep. And she's then brought into a room with a large machine, and they're about to start the process of cutting away her demon when Lyra wakes up and starts yelling out for Mrs. Coulter, who happens to walk in the middle of all this. And then Lyra starts yelling out, Mother!
Mommy!
No, she doesn't say mommy.
She doesn't say mommy. No, that was the joke.
Oh, okay.
That was a joke.
Sorry. Mrs. Coulter saves Lyra only to give her a talk about puberty and how they just want to do a small surgery to save her and the children from sin.
Your body and your demon are going to be going through some changes, and we'd like to stop that.
Yeah, pretty much. Lyra has some major acting moments before she tricks her mother, Mrs. Coulter, into opening the tin with the spy fly in it, and that helps her escape. She smashes the control panel outside of the room, locking Mrs. Coulter in while they have a yelling competition.
Because that's how locks actually do work.
Yes, that's how locks work. You
Especially
smash it, and then the
locks.
door doesn't open anymore.
Yeah.
Lyra directs the kids to escape while she wreaks havoc by destroying the machine, and Roger saves the severed children. Meanwhile, the Egyptians show up and start fighting the staff and the Tartars. Seraphina shows up and quickly finishes the battle by killing everyone. Afterwards, Mrs. Coulter escapes.
She kills all the bad guys there, not everyone.
It's easier to say everyone.
She does. She, in fact, like leaves the Egyptians to live.
It's just true. She does. You're right. Anyway, so meanwhile, Mrs. Coulter escapes while everyone marvels at the severed children coming out with Roger.
Ooh.
Afterwards, Ma Costa tells Lyra it's okay to go in and do her own thing, reminding her this was not the only reason she came to the north.
Right.
So Lyra sets off with Lee, Roger, and Yorick to go save her father.
Yorick, my dear. Yorick, my love.
Unfortunately, they are attacked by cliff gas.
Cliff gas.
And Lyra falls out of the hot air balloon.
Oh, shit.
Like, it kind of looks like she's falling to her death here.
Mm-hmm.
Side story. Will is up watching old videos of his dad before he left 13 years ago. We get a shot of the now two men watching their house outside. We find out that they want Elaine to be seeing them watching her, but we don't know why yet.
We don't. And this was like one whole scene. Right?
Yeah, it's the only scene. Like the first time that we watched this, I was just like, all we see is Will being up late, not doing anything in particular.
We do get to see the video. Like we do get a glimpse at John Perry, his father, who he looks like and who he is being played by. Who he's being played by. I had to finish my thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah, by the way, I totally fucking called that.
You did.
I didn't. Call it. I don't think I called it on here because we were watching it and we saw the picture of the dad of John Perry, and I was just like, "That's Hot Priest. That's Moriarty." And James like, "Nah, no, it's not. It doesn't even look like him.
It's Hot Priest."
And then I looked it up on IMDb, and John Perry wasn't like credited as anybody. So I was like, if it was Hot Priest, they would totally credit him.
So basically. No, that's more for a spoiler thing. Remind me in the spoiler section to make my Hot Priest joke.
Okay. But yeah, no, so it's totally Hot Priest. Awesome. Excited for that in the future.
Excited to see him.
Probably not in this season, though, with only 3 episodes left.
Not. 2.
Oh, 2 episodes now.
This is our third Next episode's our penultimate episode.
Yeah. And I just want to talk about the side stuff first because it's really short.
Let's just get out of the way, yeah.
So now there are 2 men watching. It's the original PI and not Lord Boreal.
Yeah. And it's not his IT guy, right? Or is it his IT guy?
Oh, was it his IT guy? Oh, we'll have to see that again. I don't know. I don't know if it was him. I think it's a new guy.
It might be a new guy. It could just be like another muscle bot dude. But
it's just more the fact that it's like not just like Lord Boreal has been kind of keeping the IT guy and the PI kind of separate from each other. I don't know if that was like by design or anything.
I don't know, but it could be the IT guy. I didn't notice it. IT guy is a tall blonde dude.
Oh yeah, he kind of was dirty blondish.
A dirty blonde, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much it for those guys.
It for the side story.
Yeah. And also Will's dad totally stole his toy car. Rude.
Rude.
Okay, so let's start off with like the beginning of the episode where Lyra goes into the cafeteria and sees Roger for the first time.
Roger.
The Pan immediately goes over and starts talking to Sal, Roger's demon.
Yeah.
And it's really short of a conversation, but
it's succinct. Yeah, they know they've got their little like quick hand essentially.
It's interesting though, because then when he goes back to talk to Lyra, it clearly shows like a longer conversation.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I think I'd prefer to have seen the full conversation rather than to have seen Pan relaying the conversation back to Lyra.
You see the 2 demons talking, and then like you see Pan start to relay back to Lyra, and then it cuts away. Like we know what he's telling her type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just like a small thing, but Pan is telling Lyra about how he can already tell that Roger and Sal are different, have been changed by being here.
They've been through some shit, y'all.
I think it's mostly just trauma.
Yeah, Roger is traumatized.
Because he clearly hasn't had the operation.
No, they
I
haven't
mean,
been
they
separated.
separate those kids from
Yeah.
those. Haha. To double
Aha,
meaning there.
you
They
see?
separate
That's
those
what they
children from their
mean.
demons and from the other children. But like right after this whole thing, a girl is called away. Bridget
something.
it starts with an M. I didn't write it down.
Bridget with the hair demon.
Oh, Bridget with the bad hair. Because it's
No,
clearly
her hair demon. Her demon is a good one, y'all.
Oh, it's a rabbit. I'm sorry. I was making a different joke.
Yeah.
I was making a bad joke.
Moving on.
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
You move on.
So it's obviously a big deal that Bridget is being taken away. Like, she doesn't even get to eat dinner.
Yeah.
She's being sent to the principal's office without food.
And all of the kids around there just like stare at her.
Ooh.
hmm
Ooh.
And then she's like escorted down this hallway and the nurse doesn't go in with her. And then she just like creepily stares at the door while like we hear some machine noises happening and like her smile just slowly goes away. It's weird.
It's weird, yeah.
It's super creepy.
But really cool. Like, it's really great acting on that actress's part.
And this is when I first noticed that she doesn't have a demon.
No, we've never seen her demon.
No, the doctors have demons, but
Mhm.
this nurse and possibly the other nurses don't have demons.
Yeah, there's like a lot of staff at Bolvanger at the station that we don't see their demons. And
Yeah.
I mean, there has been a set precedent for not seeing demons by staff members at Jordan College,
hmm
but I think this is something else.
No, it's when they're just two people in a hallway and you see the doctor's fox demon and then you don't see anything for the nurse, no little bug on her, no flying moth or butterfly or anything in her pocket. Like, it's a big difference. That's not spoilers.
Yeah. It is a big difference, yeah.
Okay, rude, not spoilers. Anyway,
I like your note. Creepy nurse is a computer.
yeah, she's creepy.
She is.
All right, so the next scene, Lyra is brought into a room and put into a large cage to have something measured. They make her look at a green light and they take some more pictures of her.
Start taking photos.
She asks what the pictures are for and then asks if they're taking pictures of the dust.
I know you're taking pictures of dust. I know you're measuring dust.
Where did you hear that from?
Oh, some girl in the cafeteria.
And then that doctor is having none of her shit. No, you didn't. Where are you from? Oh, well, you see, doctor, I just remembered that I was playing a dumb little girl.
And like, I'm just going to tell you now, you're not going to find any dust on me. I mean, I wash myself.
Like,
I take a shower.
it's not bad if you're trying to play dumb. And obviously these doctors they think you're all dumb because you're children and they're just so smart adults.
Just don't push the boundaries like you normally would. Be a bit more like gentle with boundary pushing to see and get your information.
Yeah.
You can still get information as a dum-dum.
Yep. And then the fire alarm goes off before he's able to take the pictures for a second time.
He is pissed.
And he's very pissed off. But like later in the episode, they kind of make it sound like it's his thing with the tests. So the fact that he's pissed off now is like a little weird. But the fire alarm goes off. Creepy nurse is a robot. And she's like, please go towards the nearest exit. Don't forget your shoes, Lizzie.
Don't forget your shoes, Lizzie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
They go outside and Lyra gets to talk to Roger, like we said. She starts a snowball fight, like we said.
Let's do a distraction.
Yes.
Snowball fights are great distractions.
Especially when you've got like a bunch of children around.
Yeah.
So afterwards, they are in the room with all of the demons. And so this part is like kind of really sad.
Okay.
Because you just get to see all of these like really sad animals. One of them looked like they're like comatose, just laying down. And then
There's,
you
like,
get to
one that's
see
just, like, batting its head against
that's
the
Bridget.
wall.
That's Bridget's demon, her little rabbit demon
bunny.
who's like not poking, but like hitting his nose against the wall. And then when they like pan away, you can still hear it.
Do you think like the wall that he was like hitting his nose against was in direction of the...
Yes,
Okay.
I exactly think that.
Okay.
It made me so sad.
So Lyra and Roger find the demons, and it's super depressing. But what's even more depressing is that the next building that they check out...
Well, at first they find the empty cage with Billy Costa's name on it. And this is why they go to the next room, is he's like
I tried to save you all the heartbreak of that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I won't.
Couldn't jump over it.
But no, it's so sad though, because then he finds this cage and it has Billy Costa's name on it, but it's empty and open. And Roger is very smart and is just like, oh, this must mean Billy's dead. And then Lyra's just like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
He's like, you knew?
I got him back to his mom.
And Roger, that single tear going down his face is the saddest thing.
Roger is total MVP.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after Roger has that realization that the children must still be alive, but where are they? They go off and they find them. Not too far away. We don't really have a map of this place.
No, we don't have a map of Balvanger. But they're all counting in unison from 1 to 10. But they're like all off in their own little world at the same time. It's really creepy. It's like almost Children of the Corn creepy.
They were counting with the alarm too. Yeah. And it wasn't like they were counting how many. They just counted with the alarm to 10 and then started over again.
You notice how they were not being evacuated with the fire alarm?
No.
Grown-ups just think they can burn. Those grown-ups can burn.
Is it because they're like failed experiments?
I don't know.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, they didn't super care about those children. And I wonder if it's because they knew that this fire alarm was
just straight up an alarm.
Well, like it was a test run.
Yeah, it was a drill. It was straight up a drill.
The fire drill. And so they weren't really caring about it. But then when it goes off later and they don't actually know if it's like a drill or a real thing, they still don't go and save those kids.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the adults care about them.
I don't think they care about them at all. They just keep them in this room and keep them isolated, and they don't get to play or. No. I wonder if I'm sure they have to feed them.
I hope they feed them.
They have to.
They don't feed them.
They're alive, so anyway,
that's debatable.
All right.
I think they just expect them to die, so they just don't really try.
Yeah, so afterwards, the alarm stops going off, and they have to go back with the other kids. They make a plan that they're going to escape, and the next time that you hear the fire alarm...
That's when we run.
That's when we escape. She goes in, she spends the night staring off, because, now she's seen some shit and is a little bit traumatized.
Aren't we all?
And then the next morning, they hear an aerial ship approaching, and all of the kids are like, it's her, she's here.
Hi.
And Lyra's just like, oh my God, she's here. I need to hide. Me. And she eventually convinces the girls to help hide her, which is just like, this little girl has some major upper body strength.
Oh, she's got some major full body strength because she also got her legs up there.
Well, you can like hook your feet underneath something under there, but like the pulling your upper body up.
So basically, Mrs. Coulter is doing rounds, and Lyra hides under her bed and pulls herself up and holds herself there while Mrs. Coulter is doing her rounds, and we get a tense moment with the monkey demon that's like kind of walks up to the bed and is like, oh, there's something off about this. But nothing comes of it. Like, Lyra is safe. Lyra is good.
Yeah, she's good. She's safe. She has like a little moment when Mrs. Coulter pops back into the room to be like, good job, everyone. So proud of you. Then at the next mealtime, Lyra prepares the other children to get ready to fight when the next time comes that she pulls the fire alarm.
Yes.
But it is interrupted because then the doctors come in and they call Lizzie Brooks.
Lizzie Brooks.
Which is her. And she gets to like stare around at all the kids and the Annie or Anne like squeezes her hand and is like, I'm so sorry.
You can do it, but you're gonna die.
She like spreads all this hope to these kids and they finally accept it. And then suddenly they're like, fuck, they're going to kill her. We're never going to see her again.
She stood out too much.
And we're not going to escape at all.
Nope.
So she goes out and then halfway down the hallway, she runs off and tries to escape. And the female doctor is just like, grab her demon. And the male doctor just like straight up grabs him, which is the second time we've seen a human grabbing a demon.
No, I think this is the first time.
No, because Lord Boreal did it and killed a woman.
That is correct. I forget about that reporter.
She's not dead in the books. That's
she might
why.
not be dead in the film.
That's true. Again, the demon didn't like dissipate or anything.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a massive taboo and it's a huge shock to the body.
It really is. And the fact that she finally in the book at this point, she's get this realization that they are just like messing with all of the taboos and she can't trust them to not like hurt her through her demon anymore. Anyway, so he squeezes Pan until she passes out and then like holds him.
He like holds Pan and then they get into the room, throw Pan into the area, into Pan's cage and slam the door shut and then Lyra struggle Lyra into it. And that seems like a tense moment. Should we do a break for a ad read?
Yes, this is.
We don't have any ads. We do have our lovely Hello Sweetie people, though.
When you have kids, it's almost impossible to find time to catch up on all your geeky obsessions. Comic books, TV, movies, games. We get it. Geek Parenting Podcast understands your pain, and we are here for you. We're geeky parents just like you, and we come together once a week to talk about what it's like to raise your little geeklings while staying true to your fandoms. New episodes every week. Find Geek Parenting Podcast wherever you consume your podcasts. Follow us on social media at Geek Parenting Podcast. Sorry, Stefan.
All right, we're back.
And we're back. All right, so we have a little bit before we go into the alethiometer. But at this point, she is put into the large cage room, and she knows that her demon's about to be severed. We know that this is what they do.
She's seen the plans. She's read the blueprints. She's seen the after effects. Like, she knows this is inevitable.
And then she starts screaming for Mrs. Coulter, which is at this point, the doctor's like, she knows her name. Do none of the children know Mrs. Coulter's name?
No, I don't think so. I think they just know her as the woman. And this is like the doctor that's handling everybody is kind of questioning it. But the doctor that's up in the control room is just like, get out of there. Like, get her in there and then get out of there.
Yeah, let's just like do this.
She doesn't care that she knows
she don't
Mrs.
give a
Coulter.
shit. No.
And then Lyra starts calling out mother.
Yeah. Well, that's because Mrs. Coulter comes in and she sees her.
She sees Lyra.
Yeah.
And Lyra's like, mother. And Mrs. Coulter shuts it down.
Yep. She has this really great shot of like, holy shit, it's Lyra. And she's like, clearly would never imagine her being in this position because she obviously would never let her be in that situation. So that was a really good scene. So afterwards, like she sits her down in her own like personal quarters and gives her a talk about puberty and how like she says this thing about how in experimental theology, they basically need to deal with sacrificing the few for the needs of the many.
Yeah, sacrifice of the few for the better or the needs of the many.
You know, as opposed to science where they know that's a bad thing to do.
Well, you sacrifice a few lab rats for the benefit of mankind.
Sacrifice a few rat demons. I'm sorry. So she in this moment, Lyra has some like major acting skills, even though she like starts off clearly super pissed off at her, which like if she wasn't, Mrs. Coulter would be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. What's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
What are you trying to pull?
And the whole like, if this is such a good thing, you should have wanted it. You should have been happy that they were doing it. And that's when she goes into the whole experimental theology bullshit.
This is a good thing. It's just not a good thing completely ready for you. Mm-hmm. Other kids can suffer. When you do it, you won't suffer.
The unimportant children that she doesn't know.
Not my children.
And none of your friends.
And none of your friends.
Except for Billy.
Except for Billy.
Okay, that voice.
And Roger.
Oh, no. No, Roger would definitely have been saved because of the friend. Even though, no, she wouldn't have saved him. Well, she maybe would have saved him because
knowing Lyra was there,
Lyra knows about him there. But she found out who Roger was and then sent him to the station anyway.
There's also the probability that Lyra would be taken away from the station and Billy would still be, or Roger would still be.
Yeah, Roger.
Separated.
Yeah. That makes me so upset.
Yeah, because she's evil.
Well, yeah, she is. She's straight up evil. So in this, like, she gets her to trust her a little bit and does that whole, like, hand touching face thing. And she's like, here's the tin that I soldered and I keep the alethiometer in.
Well, no, she's like, so I know that the Master of Jordan College gave you something, and I suspect that he gave it to you to take to Lord Asriel. But of course, Lord Asriel can't have that. Where did you put it? Oh, how clever of you to put it in this tin. Oh, and it's solder too. Let me grab a knife to break the solder on it, and let me open this up. And Lyra knows what's coming.
This scene is almost word for word out of the book.
It's exactly word for word out of the book. Mrs. Coulter's lines are directly from the book.
They did the exact same thing.
How clever of you.
Wow, that is such an old woman voice. No, but they did the exact same thing for the movie, The Golden Compass, as well. They kept these like words the exact same because they're just so good. Well, and they both play them so well too. So anyway, she gets that out and the spy fly escapes and attacks her and gives Lyra a chance to escape. And this is when they have their yelling competition.
We'll go out with our yelling competition.
Oh no, we're gonna have a yelling competition. This'll be great, guys. But Lyra gets away and she runs off to the children and tells them, hey, go off, run away from the building and fight for your freedom. And tells Roger to go get the severed children and protect them. Yeah. And she's going to do what she does best.
Create chaos.
Yes. And she knows exactly where she's going to go and destroy that machine. It was really cool. So before that, Lyra is getting dressed after the fire alarm goes off, and she's confronted by the creepy nurse.
The nurse.
And this is the first time where she's like less creepy and more sad, but sad creepy.
Still sad.
And Lyra's just like, what's the name of the demon that they cut from you?
What was your demon's name? She's like, Nicholas.
And then she gets this far off look in her eye, and that's enough to distract her, essentially.
Like, incapacitates her, and she's no longer a threat.
Which I think is like their first experiments had to have been on the nurses to be like...
Yeah. So in the book, it's like the very, very first experiments were done on adults because adults could handle that stress, that sudden trauma. But this isn't really a spoiler thing.
No.
But adults are already affected by dust. They're already covered in dust, so they need to figure out a way to be able to do it to children.
Ooh, that still might be a spoiler now that I hear it out loud.
I'll bleep it.
Okay, sorry guys. Anyway, so that distracts her or like gets her to let Lyra go. And this is when she goes in and destroys the buttons. She pushes buttons until something happens. The machine full on implodes and then explodes, which I think is what happens in most things.
For most implosions, yeah. Implosion and then out. But it's like, Lyra, we got to get out of here. It's very dramatic. The thing's going to blow. I was like, hold on. Let me look around for 3 seconds.
Right. Now we run outside into the hall, and then I turn back and look
again. Let me look for another 3 seconds.
Quickly get out of the way.
Around the corner. I'm safe.
And then and right where she was
Right.
where a huge thing was going to hit.
Yeah, the door.
Very
The
dramatic.
door blows off the hinges and just goes down the hallway.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of cool, but kind of weird.
It was neat. It was just like, if you need to get away from something exploding, you haul ass to get away from whatever's exploding.
Right? Exactly. Roger goes in and finds the severed children and tries to convince them to leave with him, but like the first time just doesn't go so well. So he has to go in there and be like, you have a choice and you don't want your demon's last memory to be of all that pain that you guys went through. And I think that got to them.
Roger playing the human side.
Yeah. Or it didn't get to them at all. And he was just like, all right, slowly get everybody
get
out of their
going.
bit
Yeah.
and like kind of push them into a single file line. Like that's kind of what I thought was going to happen, but they didn't show that. So maybe it was like the human.
He brought a little bit of their humanity back and their desire
Making them think about their demons.
to survive and see their demons again. He gave them hope.
Yes. The kids are running for the exits when they are stopped by the staff members, but the Egyptians quickly intervene and save them. And by saving them, I mean Ma Costa comes in and snaps
The
a man's
staff
neck in
members.
front of the children. And then it's like, don't worry, we're here to save you.
Because they're not traumatized enough already.
Right? Like they did a very good job of not showing any blood during any of this fighting and stuff.
Yeah, but murder's murder. And if a kid sees someone murdering, then I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to be a little bit more traumatized than you already were.
I mean, I'd
Even
also
if you were super fucking traumatized by being like imprisoned in this camp of sorts, just knowing that your day of dread and doom is coming up eventually.
yeah, and then just seeing a man's neck snapped in front of you.
And just trauma on trauma.
Yeah. Also, so listen, we had this discussion off air about how I don't think that she would have been able to snap that man's neck. And then James was telling me that it's
Oh.
not that hard to snap someone's neck.
Like I know.
Right.
No, but I feel like snapping someone's neck is doable for her because number one, she's got that mother strength.
Uh-huh.
Number two, she's got that mother rage.
But like he's up
And-
against the wall and taller than her.
And number three, she's getting that mother revenge.
That's that mother strength though.
Let's bring all of it together.
I feel
to be
like that's
controlled.
2.A.
Regardless.
Okay. Or 2A, not
she's-
2.A.
She has the desire.
Yes, she does. All right. So that happens. They are like a whole bunch of fighting goes on.
The
Lee's a
tartans
good shot.
Pop up.
Mrs. Coulter is climbing through the vents like her monkey and like Lyra.
It's how she's able to escape her room.
She like lands outside of the vent and looks exactly like her monkey. Like she just kind of has the crouch look going on, and she kind of looks to the side. Like they've done so many
you can
things.
see the parallels of it. Yeah, you understand now why her demon might have taken the form of a monkey.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they're putting that in because, of course, in the book, it never does anything to say that she acts like her monkey. And
No.
so the fact that they're not talking about it, but they're kind of showing it
They're
with her
showing that this
actions,
is her
I like
style,
that.
yeah.
It's very
It's
interesting.
Who she is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good.
There's lots of fighting going on. It doesn't really look like either side is winning. And then I said the witches in
The
my
witches,
notes, but
yeah.
it's
It's
a
a
witch
witch.
shows
It's
up.
Serafina
Pekkala shows up and murders everyone that is not on her side.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. She pulls some badass magic and just kills all of the Bolvanger staff and all of the Tartars that are there fighting, and
Mhm.
like it's awesome.
It's a very cool scene.
My only thing is if it kind of downplays the witch clan.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in the book at this point, like the whole witch clan shows
we
up,
have a
I
lot
think.
in the book. We just have a lot more witches, and
Yeah.
I would like to see that, but we still get to see Serafina being a badass.
Oh, totally.
And
And she's
super
amazing, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade her for anything. So
Yeah.
at least we have her. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
And then right after this scene is done, Roger walks out with all the severed children. At least they are saved from seeing lots of people being murdered in front of them.
They don't have to deal with the extra trauma on top of their extra trauma.
Yeah, they're super traumatized. I don't know what else you could do to
Everything
them.
traumatized all the time.
Oh, those poor kids. And we kind of get to see Mrs. Coulter like about to go out, but then everybody is murdered, and she's just like, oh, maybe,
no one to pick your battles.
maybe I'll just slink off here.
She knows when to hold them
When to fold them
and when to fold them.
and when to run away.
Like now.
Yeah, so
Right now.
she runs off.
She strategically retreats.
Yeah, pretty much. Afterwards, we get like this quick, everybody's rounding everybody up, and Ma Costa and Lyra talking, and Ma Costa's just like, it's okay, go. You're fine.
You go.
There were other reasons you were here.
One thing that you could have missed in this scene is that they are loading up the cages of the demons that have been separated.
Yes. I
like,
did miss that the first time around.
Yeah, like you see them, it's like load up all the cages, and it's I fully believe that those are the cages of the demons.
Mm-hmm. I think so, because at first I was just like, are they just leaving
Just
the demons, but they're
supplies.
taking the children? That's ridiculous.
I hope that load up all the cages is the cages of demons.
I think
and
you're
they're
right.
just getting all of the children and demons away from that place,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort the demon child thing out away from both anger.
I'm having this
Go home
realization.
now.
Earlier in the episode, they were showing like the Egyptians kind of having their treacherous
Mhm.
way across the mountainside, and how they. I totally thought that one guy fell off the cliff, but I guess he didn't. It just kind of looked like that. But then how they almost lost some supply things going back that way, if they're going back the same way.
Well, they're not in as much
With
of a
all
rush.
those teeming cages?
They can take the long way. They're not in such a rush.
I hope not. That's just like, oh, dude.
Yeah. They were straight up on a time limit. Like they needed to get going.
Mm-hmm.
So
But yeah. So Ma Costa gives Lyra permission to leave again. And this time she goes off with Roger, York, and Lee in his hot air balloon.
we get to see an aeronaut do what aeronauts do.
And that balloon is huge because it can fit a whole polar bear in it
Armored
and
bear.
3 humans.
Mhm. Well,
An adult and 2 small humans.
I would argue that 2 children equals 1 adult. So
That's true.
very much along the lines of like 2 kids on their shoulder, like 1 kid stacked on the other kid's shoulder in a trench coat getting into a rated R movie or ordering a beer. It equals 1 actual adult.
But they take up the same amount of standing space as adults.
Yeah, sure. But either way, 4 creatures, one of them being a huge armored bear.
Yes, and that's a
With
huge
space.
hot air balloon, and also like the canvas sidings. That's a really cool hot air balloon.
Yeah.
I was into that. I would love to go up in one of those. Although, of course, those are meant for like long trips, which I don't ever want to do a long trip in a hot air balloon.
No.
Anyway, they go off. Then quickly we're set off to them sleeping because
Mhm.
they've just been through a lot. And Serafina shows up and says, I thought you deserved a tow. So she's helping his hot air balloon along
Yeah.
and gives him the rundown of like, she
The
has a
prophecy,
destiny
yeah.
and you're meant to help her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lee's just like, well, I do all this shit for money, and my contract just ended with the Egyptians. And Serafina's like, you're not going to do this for money. You're going to do this for love.
I hate this scene.
Yeah.
I really tried not to hate this scene.
Let's just move on then.
No, I want to talk about really shortly why I hate this scene.
Okay.
Because he's just like, it's a really cute line because, you know, Lin-Manuel Miranda's adorable. And he's just like, well, this is not the way I expected this conversation to go. That's adorable. But then it's like out of nowhere, I was hoping for some more danger money, and to be blindsided by love.
Love.
That's why I hate this scene.
Okay. So you just have no heart. That's fine. Moving on.
All right, fine. We get another recap of her destiny. Seraphina just flies off without a broom or a pine switch thing. Cloud pine
Without her cloud pine.
thing.
But because the sprig of cloud pine is so small, I think it's just like in her pocket. They put it in their pocket and they can fly around like Superman.
I don't know that I like that.
I'm not a fan of that design, but it's still
Oh,
really
she
cool
can
to
fly.
see the witches fight,
It's fine.
especially Seraphina fight with that.
She flies off. They're having like kind of a normal sleeping time. And then they're attacked by cliff gas.
Yes, it's a really, really cool build up with like the tension of they hear something. And Lee's instruments are like freaking out, and then they hear something, and
I did really like this scene.
they like check around the flap. There's nothing, but on the outside you see like the head poke back around, and then the cliff gas attack, and all hell breaks loose.
Yep, and while they're fighting, somehow Lyra like hits the loading thing, and it falls open.
And then she gets knocked onto it.
And then, of course, knocked off of it because the fighting is still going on. And then she's hanging there, and Lee's about to save her, except not.
Cliff gas.
And then she falls to her death, maybe, because that's really high up.
It's really high up, but we have 2 more episodes. We know she's not
She
dead.
can't die. Like, they have several seasons going on. We know she's not going to die.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that
That's the end
episode.
of that.
Actually, before the alethiometer section, we have to say that we are a part of the Hello Sweetie Podcast Network. And please go to the website and listen to other podcasts that are on our network. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you would like to email us, I did not check the email before this.
Oh, look, we don't have anything.
It's not. I didn't expect it. But if you would like to email us, give us your opinions on stuff, this is the area to do it. You can email us at ourdarkmaterialspod@gmail.com. You can also leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. It would be awesome if you give us a 5-star rating. I will read it on air. No matter what you say, you can say whatever you want.
Episodes left.
But it has to be 5 stars.
Yeah.
And now we can go to the alethiometer.
All right. So there's not a whole lot to talk in this one. Like
there's so much differences though.
There's so many differences, but like they're not really spoilers. So I didn't feel bad bringing them up in the previous section.
Oh, you had a thing that you wanted to talk about.
I had a joke I wanted to make, but I forgot what that joke is.
Good, because I also forgot what I was specifically supposed to remind you about.
You were supposed to remind me that I had a joke about something.
Oh, you have a joke about something.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. Okay, so when the alarm goes off the first time, I'm kind of they took away the whole talking between Pan and Sal, and like how I keep saying Billy, how Roger and Lyra are like communicating to each other through their demons. I kind of covered that already, how I would have liked that to be a little more explicit.
They didn't have it's a one-time thing in the show versus like a few different times to pass information back and forth within the books.
After the fire alarm goes off and everybody's like neatly escorted outside.
It's not so much of a chaotic thing to get everybody out there already in lines. They're like adults there to be like, okay, do this, get your coats on, go outside.
And like how all of the doctors are complaining that the reasons that they're doing these testing is because nobody knows what the fuck they're doing when it comes to this, this whole fire drill. So that part they changed, which is fine. I think it played off really easily. They didn't need to have all of the like disorganization and confusion to make it easy for Lyra to run away.
Yeah.
The snowball fight did it pretty good, but
leading on from that, the snowball fight, yeah. But that also gives them time in the books to come up and find these locked doors. And that's when they get some help
from Kaisa.
And Like the show really is downplaying witches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he shows up in the books at this point and like magics the door open and he sees the demons and he goes back and relays that information to the rest of them and lets her know that the Egyptians are coming soon.
And they magic all of the demons' locks.
That's true. And they like let them
liberate
go.
The demons. Like he helps save the demons.
Yeah, but then there's the difference that they actually have the kids in the show where they don't in the books. In the books, they just let the demons go to like, I don't know, find their humans. Versus in the show, they keep them in the cages, which is a little problematic. But like they get the kids and the demons, which is good, I think.
We'll hopefully, not probably, we will hopefully see some heartfelt reunions. Hopefully.
Maybe.
They
also have the difference of like the fact that instead of Lyra spying on the doctors and the doctors being like, oh, we have to cut her so she can't
so like we
tell
have
the
to
other
force
kids
this on her because it will make her be quiet.
Yeah.
She'll forget the past day because apparently that's something that happens to the children.
Because it's still so traumatic. Yeah, so I was fine with that kind of a difference. It's interesting that they just had it as a routine. It's your turn. They did in the last episode talk about how she was close to the change.
Yeah.
So that could be a very good reason as to why they just did it that way.
Yeah.
The whole conversation between her and Mrs. Coulter, while like that one part with the alethiometer is spot on, the part where she's talking about how the kids, like how they go into puberty and like just one small cut and it's fine. In the book, it's very specific about how everybody gets their demons back.
I don't really remember that.
Yeah, so that's another reason that it's weird that the nurses are going around without their demons because
yeah. So
in there, they have their demons.
I'm sorry.
They're just not like
yeah.
acknowledging each other very much.
I thought you were talking about the children.
Well, them too. That she
because those demons are locked up and then
I know,
freed.
But she tells Lyra that they get their demons back.
She lies about it.
Yeah,
I thought you were originally just talking about the children. It's interesting that they are having these adults without having their demons at all. Like it seems that the demon in and of itself is the sin or whatever.
Yeah.
Which ties back into the whole, if you have their demon, you can make them do whatever you want.
That too.
So they're probably keeping those adults, demons locked up somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find a Nicholas demon who doesn't have its person.
Do you think they didn't kill the nurse?
I don't know. We don't see her after she kind of just zones out thinking about Nicholas.
I kind of just figured they killed her, but she's pretty innocent at this point. Dude, her demon's been cut away and they're kind of controlling her. I think she's pretty innocent at this point.
She has aided and abetted Mrs. Coulter, but sure.
If we're saying that them having her demon like allows them to control her, for sure.
Yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, so that's the big difference. I don't know how I feel about that so far.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll get like an option to feel any more about that with how the rest of the book goes.
Probably not, because the next episode, I'm gonna make my prediction.
Okay.
The next episode is the first third of it is going to be Lyra on her own up in the north, and then being found / being saved by the armored bears.
Okay.
And then the next 2/3 are going to be her plotting and setting up the fight.
Yeah.
And then the final episode is going to start off with the armored bear fight.
Oh.
It's going to start off with that.
Okay.
And then like that's going to be over in like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then go further north to Lord Asriel. And then all of that stuff that happens. And I'm not going to super spoil that, but I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't get an armored bear fight in the next episode.
I definitely think we're going to get an armored bear fight.
Okay.
I think it's going to end with an armored bear fight. And then, because like the way it's been happening so far is like it ends with a fight and then we get a cliffhanger for the next thing.
I just feel like the cliffhanger being the beginning of the fight is better than what other cliffhanger do we have to rely on from the books that isn't like the last chapter.
Maybe it's, oh, my dad's not here. We have to go find him because they keep his prison away from everybody else's.
Maybe. We'll see.
We will see.
All right.
I think that's it.
Do you wanna settle this right here and right now? So we can do our yell off. We should do our yell off for our final thing.
Okay.
All right. I'll go first.
Okay.
Are you ready?
You go first.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Now you come in. Good night.